My name is Sarah Twisselman. I'm the Scholarship and Grants Associate, and I'm going to be talking to you about applying for scholarship. We are the Community Foundation, a local nonprofit created by the people of Sloan County to support our local community needs. Our scholarship program began 20 years ago and is currently the largest provider of scholarships in the county. At the Community Foundation, our donors have established over 40 scholarship funds with the intention of helping you pursue your educational goals. In this session, I'm going to talk to you about identifying your scholarship opportunities, planning your course of action, navigating the online application, and I'm going to share with you 5 tips for success to wrap it up. After our presentation, we're going to open it up for Q&A, and please feel free to enter any questions that come up throughout the session into the chat box on the right, and we will try to address as many as we can. And if we don't get to them, feel free to follow with an email or also check our Q&A page on our website to find your answers. We offer 3 types of scholarships: one-time, multi-year, and renewable. One-time awards are characterized by the full amount of the funds being issued to a student only once. Multi-year awards are guaranteed for multiple years, provided that they maintain guidelines specified in that particular scholarship. This often includes maintaining a certain GPA and a minimum number of units enrolled. For renewable scholarships, they may or may not be renewed annually, depending on if you maintain your eligibility criteria and depending on the availability of the funds. A common question we get is, do you have to be a straight-A student to win one of our scholarship awards? Well, some of our scholarships are solely based on academic merit or athletic ability or leadership experience, but most of our scholarships are geared towards applicants with financial need, and then we also have a wide variety of criteria such as community service, extracurricular activities, mid-range GPAs, or a specific major or career goal that you're pursuing. Here's a screenshot of our website. As you can see, there's a scholarships tab, and on the drop-down, there's an FAQs, available scholarships, and scholarship stories page. I want to bring your attention to the FAQs. I'm not going to go into it, but again, I think it's a great resource where you can find a lot of information to questions that have been asked most commonly by students and parents over the years. On our available scholarships page, you're going to find a list of all of the scholarships we currently are providing. Here's a better look at it on the left. You probably can't read the text on the screen, but I'm just trying to give you a reference of the way it's laid out. So what I recommend is you start scrolling through to review your eligibility first. Do not apply to a scholarship that you're not eligible for. It's just a waste of your time. You can also check with your high school counselor. They should have a list that we've provided to them, to each high school, that lists all of the applications specific to your high school. Not all of our scholarships are open to every high school, so be sure that you are eligible. Second, I would recommend that you make a list as you are going through them. That way, you're fully prepared to jump in when December 3rd comes and applications go live. You already know which you're eligible and which ones you're ready to apply for. Finally, I just want to point out that this page is also where you'll find our Apply Here our Apply Here button, which takes you into the application. When you select that Apply Here button, starting on December 3rd, when applications open up, it takes you into our online scholarship platform, also called Smarter Select. And this is where the first window you encounter will be the scholarship guidelines page. This is where you can find a description, some selection criteria, and also you can read about what type of scholarship it is, whether it's renewable or a one-time or a multi-year. You can also preview the scholarship application once it goes live through this by pressing apply here before you start actually filling out the application. So let's talk about getting started. First of all, please put these dates in your phone, in your head, in your calendar at home. Get these dates down. You want to stay on top of it and you don't want to miss your opportunity. Scholarships open up on December 3rd and they close on February 7th. So you only have about 2 months, and you might think that sounds like a lot of time, but week by week you will see that life obligations are going to come up, school obligations are going to come up, other scholarships that you're applying for, and you don't want to miss your opportunity. So set some deadlines now to accomplish certain things like your letter of recommendation or your activity sheet, and try to set your own deadline far before that February 7th deadline so you don't miss your opportunity to apply. I've created a pre-application checklist to help you get prepared. So these are items that you can either do now or prepare right when the application starts. Number 1, your FAFSA. Please complete your FAFSA. I'm sure you hear it from your high school counselor and your parents. It's available now if you haven't done it. Studentaid.gov. If you're applying to a need-based scholarship with us, you'll be required to load your student aid report, and that is only generated from your FAFSA or CADA once you finish that. Next is the letter of recommendation. This is something you can also begin now. Think about who you'll be requesting a letter from and contact them now and give them a heads up. Also, you're going to need their email and their title. So that's something you can have prepared for when that December 3rd date comes around to put into your application. Something to consider is that, or to be aware of, is that they're not handing you a letter or emailing it to you. They're going to be uploading it to the application link that's sent to them. And the way that's sent is when you enter their email on that application, it generates an email that they'll receive. So again, this is something you need to follow up with them. If you see that your application is still pending, double check with them and make sure they've uploaded it and sent it in. Next is the activities form. This is something you could and should start now. If you go to our available scholarships page and scroll down below all the scholarships listed, you'll find the activities form link and you can download it as a PDF or Google Doc. This is not a resume. You can only use this form for our applications. So please read the instructions carefully and start now. Please note, we don't want to see any junior high activities, just high school. Also, have someone give it a second look, whether that's your counselor, your coach, or your mom, because maybe they know they can remind you of something you didn't include that could set you ahead of the rest. Also, be clear and to the point with your activities and roles when you type them in. If you're going to use acronyms or abbreviations, really think about who your audience is and be sure that the reviewers are going to know who you're talking about or what organization you're talking about. If you think they might not be familiar, spell the whole word or phrase out. Also, finally, spell check. Spell check your work. Don't submit things with errors. It's only going to ding you points. Last on this list is unofficial transcripts. There's a difference between an official and an unofficial transcript, but both of them you get from either the registrar at your high school or from your high school counselor. Please don't take a screenshot or upload a printout from your Aries or Naviance or whatever your student portal is that your school uses. It must be an unofficial transcript from your high school counselor or your registrar. And you need to make sure that you request it at a time after fall grades have been posted because they must be included on there. So put this on your calendar and stay on top of it. Here's a sample of what the activities form looks like. This is that form I told you could download now off our website. It lists the different categories across the top for each column, and just read through the instructions. Please only include high school activities. Do not include anything from junior high to bulk it out. Quality versus quantity when it comes to this. into navigating the online application. So, referencing back to our available scholarships page, when you are ready, when applications go live on December 3rd and you're ready to apply, you will hit that apply here button and go through the windows to get to the application. A window will pop up requesting or requiring that you create a new user account. Please remember the email that you link to this account. You're going to need to log into that email and check your emails periodically. The system is called Smarter Select, and it's going to give you updates as your status changes, as things are submitted, or as the letter or your recommender uploads their letter. So stay on top of your emails using the email that you created the account with. Also, once you create that account, you'll have access to your user dashboard. This is where you can track all the applications that you've started or submitted. It will not only list them, but it will list the status. So one good example of why you need to, this is important is because if you go through all the work to submit an application and you hit submit and think you're done, double check in your dashboard that it says complete. Because if you go to your dashboard and it still says pending, there's a good chance that your recommender has not uploaded the letter, and that will prevent you from being eligible. It'll disqualify your application and not consider it complete. So double check your dashboard, make sure there's nothing pending. If it is, investigate to see why. Finally, the common app versus the unique app. Here's a screenshot of what our applications look like. The navigation pane is on the right and the academic information and sections are on the left. One thing I wanted to mention is that the majority of our applications are linked together, and we call that through the Common App. So once you open up an application and begin, the second and the third and the fourth applications you open, as long as they're linked to the Common App, meaning as long as they're not unique applications, all of the information you already entered will be auto-populating all these fields you see on the right. This is important to note because your letter of recommendation section will already list that recommender you had inputted earlier. You cannot change it. You shouldn't change it. But if you do change it on a particular application, you need to let your original recommender know because it's going to change it for all of them. The other thing about unique applications is that they are the exception to the rule of auto-populating your information. So if you open up an application, it's blank, even though you've already completed one, you can assume that it's a unique application, and you can confirm it by reading the instructions at the top. The instructions should tell you this is a unique application, and you need to enter all your information again. What to expect on an application. Here I'm going to break down quickly the sections. So some of our applications have a pre-qual section, and this is where you have to answer a few additional, it's usually 1 to 4 questions to determine your eligibility for this particular scholarship. The next section will be your personal and contact information. Then section 2 is going to be where you input all your academic information. And finally, the activity sheet will be section 3. Again, the activity sheets is something that I highly recommend you can start now and get it off your plate. Section 4 will be the personal essay. Here you will be given 7 generic prompts to write your essay to. You'll notice probably many of them are similar to the University of California essays. And if it's applicable to one of our prompts, you can use that essay again. Otherwise, read the instructions clearly, and my best advice is to make sure you're answering the questions asked in that prompt, and don't forget to check your grammar and spelling before you submit. Section 5 is going to be an option for students who would like to share about their extraordinary circumstances, such as family obligations and student challenges that they're dealing with, anything that you might want to let the reviewers know or take into consideration while evaluating your application. In section 6 is where you enter that information for your reviewer. Like I mentioned before, have it ready, their name, their title, and their email. Immediately, they'll receive an email with a link where they can upload their letter. So a rule of thumb, you need to give them at least 3 to 4 weeks to write a very thoughtful, well put together letter and also submit it. So keep in touch with them, be gracious, and remember, always send them a thank you note after. Section 7 is the financial statement area where you'll be uploading your student, is where your SAR report. And this is the report that you get from your FAFSA or your CATA. Section 8 is the supplementary essay section. Not all of our scholarships have supplemental essays. You will figure it out as you're going through them. You'll see that there's a supplemental essay. You will also be able to figure it out when you're in section 4 for the personal essay. There's a list in that section that mentions which scholarships will have a second essay to write to. Section 9 is the certification and submit section. This is highly important to understand. I mentioned about the Common App, how everything auto-populates on most of our applications. But no matter what copies over, you still have to go into every application you're submitting and sign this section at the bottom. This certifies that you yourself are submitting your application. Nobody did it for you. It's also certifying that all the information that you're submitting is true and complete. And then, of course, you want to hit submit. Now that we've identified which scholarships you are eligible for, we've planned out your course of action and you have your dates in place to get started. You can download that activity sheet. You can prep your letter recommendation information. I've explained the different sections of the online application. Now I'm going to give you my 5 tips for success to sum it up. Number 1, start now with your pre-application checklist. Number 2, request the letter of recommendation early. I've already touched on this, but I cannot stress it enough. Number 3, thoroughly read all instructions and ask for help if needed. If you hit a question or there's an issue you just can't get through, don't let it be a barrier to getting a scholarship from us. Contact us or contact your high school counselor for help with that, and either one of us will help you through it. Number 4, stay on top of your email notifications. I mentioned earlier to keep track of which email you use to create that user account. We might be sending you emails as well if there's something coming up, or to remind you to, what is pending if the deadline's coming up. So please check your emails along the way of this process. Number 5, set early deadlines and don't procrastinate. Again, I already spoke about this, but it's so important to set those deadlines. Don't wait till the week before. We've seen it happen many times where students don't start till the week of or the day before, and they don't ever get it in. So good luck, guys. You can do this, and if you need any help again, please contact us. Again, my name is Sarah Twisselman. I'm the Scholarship and Grants Associate at the Community Foundation of San Luis Obispo County. Here's my email. It's sarah@cfsloco.org, and please contact me if you have questions about the content or the process of applying for our scholarships. You can also contact my associate Taylor. She's our Grants and Scholarship Program Assistant, and if you have questions more on the technical side about using the platform or logging in or receiving those emails, Taylor is happy to help you if you contact her, Taylor@cfsloco.org.